Welcome into the Coaching Company podcast. We are here to support the morning show. If you missed any of the morning show, I encourage you to go back and watch it. Coming off a 7-3 best bets day on Monday. I think today we have 7 plays, so 6-1. We're going to give away a free piece of merch tomorrow. I am the coach. This is Coaching Company, the brand, coming out of BTT Studios. We never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes on this podcast. In the course of the next week or two, we will have an announcement. You guys absolutely will want to hear that will affect this podcast in the morning. In the meantime, we love to dive into different topics. This is a sports show at its core, and we have a little bit of sports betting on the side. Let's bring in my partner, my guy, Mikey P. Mikey, have you recovered from the morning show?
I think so. I don't even want to make any sly comments or listen. My career in stand-up did not go well, so sit down and talk sports. That's where we're going.
I actually think you'd be very good in stand-up. I really, really do. I would love to take you to amateur night. You know, I work with Nick Nemeth. He does stand-up. I can get you on a show.
I have been told, and I'm not trying to hype myself up, but I have been told by multiple people, just take a couple classes, do some amateur nights, and there might be something there. I got a lot to talk about, so.
You got a lot to talk about. I think your poo-poo face could be a great icebreaker for a stand-up. Like, you know, when you deliver a line, then you go, I mean, that could be amazing. That could be amazing. It really could be. All right, so we are 12 days away from the Super Bowl. And the one thing we started today is we're doing props every single day up until the Super Bowl. Raphael has come out with over 3,000 props. And it's so awesome that I'm the only one in the universe, really, Mikey, when you think about it, to come up with this idea. Revolutionary. Visionary. That's who I am when it comes to props every single day. Don't you think that I'm that smart, Mikey, to
Absolutely.
do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But if you are the visionary, can I be Braun Breaker, please? If we're playing make believe right now, I want to be the big badass for once in my life.
1,000%. He was back last night on Monday Night Raw. Later today, we'll be talking about that on Off the Ropes, Sirius XM channel 156. So, Mikey, we got a few topics to hit on today, but there are certain things that happen in sports that just leave you, scratching your head going, this can't be real. And I get the fact that the NFL, because it's a contact sport, nobody wants to have a season-ending or career-ending injury in the Pro Bowl. But this has become absolutely ridiculous because not only have they changed it to a flag football game, but now whenever a player, and this has always been the way it is, whenever they make it to the Super Bowl, if they made it to the Pro Bowl, they have a replacement. Well, either there was nobody else that wanted to play, or we missed half of Shadir Sanders' games this year, and I guess everybody else did. He is replacing Drake May in the Pro Bowl. He played less than half of the games, I think. He was a 5th-round pick. Mikey, what are we doing?
I really wish I could tell you, Coach. There's so many layers to this. Let me start when I was a young football fan. My favorite football highlight to this day in 2026 is Sean Taylor absolutely destroying Thomas Morstead on a fake punt in the Pro Bowl. Yeah, you can't get away with that anymore, but it kind of set a precedent for me of what the Pro Bowl is. And then I saw an interesting tweet from Sean Merriman, the former Pro Bowl linebacker. He said, I walk by my Pro Bowl helmet every day. It is signed by some of the greatest legends to ever play this game. This game is no longer what it used to be. And all jokes aside, I think that is truly the kind of hit home point about the Pro Bowl, because we're looking at Shadir Sanders. I'll go take it back to the Chicago Bears days. Mitch Trubisky was a Pro Bowler. We can't just keep giving these out.
Well, let's just not play the game. Let's if you want to be a Pro Bowler and you're going to put it into your contracts, incentives, the whole 9 yards, then do that. But let's not play the game. If you want to do the skills challenge, awesome. You want to do a few parties, good. Let's stop calling it a Pro Bowl game. My favorite memory was when Peyton Manning was on the sidelines being interviewed during the game. Remember that? And his kicker, I can't even remember the guy's name, Yeah, Vanderjack. He had made some stupid comments, I guess, when he was intoxicated, and Peyton minced no words. He goes, "We're talking about a kicker, talking about a drunk kicker." I'm like, "Oh, Peyton, you're my guy. You're my guy." That was absolutely amazing. I don't know if Shadir Sanders has any incentives in his contract to make the Pro Bowl, but I seriously doubt if the Cleveland Browns, when they were doing their budgets at the end of the year, factored in an extra 25 large for Shadir Sanders to make the Pro Bowl. But they will have to pay it if they didn't. You can't even talk about this without laughing. It's absolutely insane what this has turned into.
I thought fifth rounders had roster bonuses guaranteed. I don't know. There definitely was no Pro Bowl clause in that contract. But I mean, here's the thing, and Young Peyton said it on our morning show, and this is actual fact, and I'm going to use a personal example as well. Moving forward, every graphic, everything that represents Shedeur Sanders graphically wise, you will put in there Pro Bowler. I have a neighbor who got big into sports cards and the trading system, all of that, right? And this past weekend, we were watching the UFC pay-per-view, and he goes, "Hey, man, look, I found it's now valued at $200. It's a rookie Shedeur Sanders card." Well, that 200 just went up to 201, coach, because he was over. So it's like these things do actually somewhat matter in financial and I guess like graphic terms, but it's a joke.
It's a joke. Speaking of cards, by the way, I get into I do a lot of binge watching on Netflix and Amazon Prime. I'm getting back into working out, so I've got a whole area upstairs. So I'll just put my iPad on, and there's a show called The King of Collectibles. They just had their season number 2. His name's Ken Golden, and he's like the biggest guy in the business. It's become this gigantic business, and he's got a relationship with Logan Paul. And I don't know if you've seen this, but Logan Paul is super into Pokemon, and he had, and I say had, the most expensive Pokemon card in the world that he paid $5.2 million for. And Ken Golden, in this last season, convinces him to put it into an auction. And they have a way of making it so if it doesn't get to a certain number that he gets it back in an auction. And then there's also a way for somebody to walk in and say, "I'm going to pay you this to take it out of the auction." Well, this young girl who's a super influencer offered him $10.5 million for this card. And they basically said no. They basically said, "I think we can get more than 10 point. Double the money over 10. Would you ever pay that much for any card, let alone a Pokemon card?"
No, now here's the thing. He kind of ignited the fire where I'm like, God, I've been against the card kind of game for a very long time. I was very big in memorabilia in my early 20s, which I don't really have much of now, but I don't know that I could really go all in on the card game. Definitely not 5 million. Definitely not.
I couldn't either. You either got to be all in or you got to be all out. On that show, they'll go out. He's got a bunch of people that work for him, and they'll go out to houses, and they're always trying to make a deal. And most of them are on consignment. So if somebody's got something like a ball, they'll say, "Hey, I want at least $300 for it." They'll come in, then they split the percentage. So usually there's nothing up front for Golden and his team. Some of these card collectors or memorabilia collectors, Mikey, these basements and man caves are insane. Absolutely insane. But they've spent so much money over the years. Everything is so particular and specific. I'm just not that detail oriented. Are you?
You're giving me PTSD, coach. My first real retail job out of high school, I worked for a memorabilia company. And real quick, I'll tell you a very quick worst sales story of my life. December 23rd in the suburbs of Chicago. So snowstorms are coming. Woman calls in verbatim. She says, because I'll never forget it. She goes, "I'm in the middle of separating from my husband, but I want to have one more good Christmas. What is the most expensive thing you guys have in store?" And it was right during their little dynasty run. I said, "We have a team-sized or signed panoramic-sized autograph photo of the Chicago Blackhawks with the Stanley Cup, framed and all." And it was about 3,000. And she's like, can I pay for it over the phone?" And my boss is like, yes. And she goes, one more thing. I need it delivered. And my boss goes, I mean, you could try to negotiate. Long story short, we do the sale over the phone. I drive it out 30 minutes away from the store in the middle of a snowstorm. I mount it on the wall. Thank you. No tip, no nothing. December 26th, we open back up over Christmas. She is the first person at the door at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I need to return this. So I lost the commission. I lost the sale. I lost.
Whoa. Why would you take it back? In those type of stores, all sales are usually final.
Not. I guess because we were a corporate, it wasn't. Yeah. So not. And there was a window.
Wow. I would have told her to kick rocks.
I wanted to tell her a lot of things at 19 years old. I was out.
Oh my God.
It's a crazy world.
You know, the closest thing I have to anything like that is when I first got out of college, I wasn't exactly what you'd call prepared for the real world. And I did not have a TV job. Now, that only lasted a couple of months. But during that summer, I lived in Lawrence, where KU is. And it was awesome. I got to play morning basketball against like Paul Pierce, Jock Vaughn, all these guys that went to the NBA. And I also got a job wherever I could. And I worked at Played Against Sports. Do you know what that is?
Yep.
Played Against Sports. And I always say it's kind of where the lower level of people go to sell their stuff without using any monikers. And I was blown away. Because normally what happens, they bring it in, and if you're going to sell it for $10, you pay $5 because you're going to double your money. And that just goes up the ladder. I was blown away. People would bring in some of the most beat up, like inline skates or a treadmill that didn't work or a bat that had a whole big dent in it. And they were aghast when we said, can't buy it, or I'm going to sell that for $2 or whatever. And they would yell at us like it was our fault. But you know what? One day, Mikey, I'm just in there minding my own business, and a lady walks in the door, and she goes, "You're it. You're my number 6. You're my last guy." And she had invented this product called Boyfriend in a Box that she made about $5 to $10 million on the product. I made $200 to take the pictures. I still have one here in my office that I think I've shown it before, but I became like a sex symbol across the country, everywhere I went. Aren't you athletic, Al? Yes, I am. I actually started dating a news anchor because of a story she did on 3 of us that lived in Kansas. And that is 8 months of my life that I simply cannot get back. So I don't have a lot of good memories about being Boyfriend in a Box. What do you think? Let's say, you just got engaged. What if somebody walked in and they said, I need you just to model to be a gag gift on Valentine's Day? How do you think Lady C would react to that?
Well, in the year of 2026, nothing's more popular than true crime documentaries. I think Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Apple TV would all have their own separate versions of it. I mean, there are some things she gets like defensive about. Actually, here, I'll tell you what I told producer man. You worked in the WWE for quite some time. You know,
I did.
Garcia. You know how at the end of everyone's name, she always raises her voice like a professional does. So last night, watching Raw, and as Judgment Day, the female side came out. She did Raquel, she did Roxanne, and then Liv Morgan came out, and I just was playing video games, just trying to take the night off, and I looked up and I hear Lillian say Liv, and I go, Morgan! And Lady C was in the office. I almost got backhanded from both sides of my head.
Mikey, a couple of things on that. Lillian does not announce Monday Night Raw.
She did yesterday.
Why?
Because Alicia Cooper could not make it into Canada.
Oh, that's sometimes that's an issue. It's the worst when you're getting in and there's the immigration office over there and there's customs over there. They go, let's go to the right. And you're like, no, damn it. No. Oh God. If I never leave the United States again, it'll be too freaking soon. I do not want to be that story where they go, hey, the American was detained in Venezuela today. When that happened a few weeks ago, and it's like all these Americans are stuck. Why are you taking a vacation to Venezuela right now? Like, can you imagine sitting at home with somebody and they're like, hey, we're going to take a vacation. We want to go to the Bahamas, Destin, Florida? No. Let's go to the one country where the president is going to try to capture their president. So all Americans are persona non grata. Let's go there. Holy Christ.
We're going to Greenland for our honeymoon, by the way.
Are you really?
Oh, no.
Oh, I didn't even think of it. Oh, my God.
Come on, honey, to love us.
Oh, my God. Woo. Topic number 2. I've never seen two guys waste 16 minutes better than you and I just did. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh yeah, thank you, Shadir.
What?
Do you think he's gonna tweet about his appointment? I'd like to thank God, my teammates.
I can't wait for his brother.
What?
I can't wait for his streaming brother to be like, come on, bro. Like, he tried to get him on the Browns earlier. He said, I could have number 21. No, you can't. That's the franchise. Come on, bro. I could go to the Pro Bowl with you.
Oh, man. I will say this, that I've been following the Sanders family since Dion had a reality show. I don't know if you ever watched this. Excuse me. He had a reality show when he lived in Texas. And he had like adopted like kids from other people. He had like 8 kids living there and they weren't his. And he was coaching like the little, like Shadir was like 12 at the point or 13, like super, super young. And I remember he was dating Babyface's ex-wife at the time. And now he's dating Koresh Tran. Every time I bring up Koresh Tran, nobody knows who I'm talking about. I'm like, she's super famous. How do you not know? So he was doing his morning show the other day, and I wanted to ask you about this. If you're a coach of a Big 12 school and they give you a raise to over $10 million a year, don't you think maybe, just maybe, you should focus on the $10 million a year job and not a morning show with a female who I used to do a show with, Roxy Perez? I think it's Perez. Roxy's her first name. She's a really good host. Does it surprise you that he would add more that means literally nothing?
Yeah, especially when his most talented player on his roster just left to go to, wait for it, LSU. If you got your players joining the devil himself in Lane Kiffin, you really need to look in the mirror, Deion Sanders. I mean, forget the fact that the school is in major debt. You have to turn around this program. You revitalize the program with your son at quarterback and Travis Hunter, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Like, bring that talent back. You're obviously good enough to attract names, but you got to be a good enough coach. And I think $10 million would shift my focus to that priority there.
Here's the problem, and you're going to start to see this more and more, in all seriousness, because we saw the report from Rutgers yesterday. There's $78 million in debt. Colorado is over $50 million in debt. What they did was the first year when all those celebrities were coming and all those people were giving money, they're like, hey, we're going to spend it. And they paid all these players. And now 3 years, and they gave him a new contract for the $10 million. It was like 5 years, $50-some million. And then what happened is now all these players are either leaving. They didn't make them sign contracts so they can go wherever they wanted to go. And so now you're starting to see these schools who made all these financial promises go, wait a second, we're not getting our return on investment, because they all thought, Mikey, that all these high-level donors like at Texas Tech, like at Indiana with Mark Cuban, like at Oregon, that they were going to have somebody come in and foot the bill. So they started footing the bill. And now all of those debts are coming due. So I think you're going to see a lot of players leaving the schools with the debt and going to the schools that have the money, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And you think of the other side of that too. One thing Dion did, I don't think got a lot of attention like it should have, was he brought in all these superstar name former NFL guys to be coaches. Well, when there's no success, no matter if you're boys and there's a brotherhood, I don't want to be on a failing collegiate team. I just don't want to be a part of that coaching staff. And also, there's other schools who may be interested in me, other NFL teams that may be interested in me. So if I'm one of these high level guys that got paid a big contract to be the offensive line coach, I'm out, Dion. Sorry, but you got
Whoa,
to
whoa,
pay.
whoa, 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 whoa. Are you trying to tell me that Warren Sapp has a bunch of schools that are knocking down his door?
Coach, we wasted 16 minutes. I refuse to say his name for a reason. He embarrassed me in social media when I was in high school, and I have carried that vendetta.
Warren Sapp
Yep.
embarrassed you on social media when you were in high school?
Yep.
Were you guys friends?
No. So when Twitter was not a big thing, when I was just getting off the ground, I used it as a high school junior and senior to reach out for interview requests. I think the biggest one I had at the time was Brandon Jennings. So that was nice. And then I reached out to Warren Sapp, sent him a tweet. He responded with, "Thank you for letting me know I had the option of not doing it." I didn't get bullied enough in high school. Thank you, Warren.
You got to admit that's kind of funny, though.
Oh no, it's great. But I imagine him sitting at his house, just tweeting at me of all people. Still hurts, Coach. Still hurts.
Well, so a few years ago, for about 3 or 4 years, I was on the board of directors for David Ortiz's charity, and they would do their big event in the Dominican Republic, and ton of fun, ton of fun. If you were one of the athletes that they invited, they never hardly made any money because they were too busy spending it on the athletes, and so they asked me to be on the board. No problem. Then I actually got to see where the money was going. And the whole premise, and the reason I got so pissed and quit, is the premise was amazing. The premise of the charity is 15 doctors from Boston travel to the DR every year to do life-saving surgeries on children. Each surgery costs $5,000 just for the materials and stuff like that. They donate their time. And so for every $5,000, you're saving a kid's life. So when you're paying a celebrity, two round trip first class tickets, when you promise them one, well, that's 3 kids that aren't, you see where I'm going with that? So like year 2 or year 3, they invited 55 celebrities. Well, you only need 27 for the golf tournament. So we had 28 that were doing nothing but drinking and partying all night long. They invited Warren Sapp. He literally sat in where everybody was signing up and just yelled at people. He was drunk the very first day. And I was like, oh, I don't know him. But I was like, it seems on brand to me. All right. So I did a little deep dive. And I found the way that Dion is going to try to get some of this money back to the University of Colorado. So apparently he has told his team, and I've seen some videos on this, that if this is going to be like the NFL and everybody's going to get paid, and maybe this is another reason, Mikey, they're over $50 million in debt. Why is the backup tackle getting paid anything? That's not what NIL is, but they are. So here's what he's doing. He has instituted a fine system for player misconduct and late to practice. How much do you think it's going to cost the player?
$1,500.
$500.
Okay.
If you just no-show a practice, how much?
That's got to be $1,000.
$2,500. If you're late to a meeting or a film session,
$250.
$400. You haven't got one right yet, Mikey. Come on. If you no-show a meeting or a film session,
$750.
You'd be horrible at the prices, right? $2,000.
I don't deal well with big money, Coach. I
don't. Late to conditioning.
I'm gonna go back to $1,500.
$1,000.
All right,
$1,000. I'm gonna leave it right there. That was embarrassing. You didn't even come close. The point is, however, that I appreciate the fact, but what happens if you're a player that's not a high dollar NIL guy? It doesn't seem like it's fair across the board, because you could just be there on scholarship. You miss a practice, all of a sudden you're paying $2,000. You're like, what just happened? What just happened? But don't miss a practice. I never missed one practice in my entire college career or high school. Show up. My dad used to say that was the hardest thing to do, is just showing up. All right, Mikey, that's going to do it. We got a busy day. I know you've got a busy day. Anything on tap for you today? It's kind of a slow sports day. A lot of hockey, a lot of college basketball, though, today. I know you're hyped about that.
Yeah, a lot of college basketball. This will be the first time really where I just lock in on college basketball. Nebraska and Michigan is probably the best game nobody's talked about all season. So it'll be very fun to watch that. But other than that, Coach, it's just grinding for the brand and also looking ahead to the weekend. Like, I have to say, the last weekend, the first UFC event of the year, it just – it woke something up, and I'm super excited that I get to watch Punch Face again.
Did you see the number on Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
My goodness. I'm telling you what, they look like geniuses doing away with pay-per-view. 5.3 million. And very quietly, Mikey, I got an email from Paramount Plus the other day. Very quietly, very strategic. It came in like at 11 o'clock at night, too. They're raising from $12.99 to $13.99. And if you have, say, 100 million people, that's an extra $1 billion a year. That would pay for the UFC deal just right there. I don't know how many people have Paramount, but I know I do. At least 5.3 million people do. So smart. But we'll see if they maintain that. But you got to give them a tip of the cap. And they're going to go back-to-back UFC. So maybe you and I should do a little content for the UFC later this week, if you're down for it.
I'm always down for it.
All right. Punch him in the face, he says. Punch him in the face. All right, that's going to do it for now. Do not forget, if you are a SiriusXM subscriber, I will see you guys this afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern time for Off the Ropes. If you missed any of Coach and Bro yesterday, I encourage you to watch it on demand as we tackle a lot of fun and funny topics there as well. For Mikey P, producer man, I am the coach. We'll see you next time right here on the Coach and Company podcast.